Is Skrag the Slaughterer any good in patch 5.1? Well, nothing's changed for Skrag, but it seems Legend of Total War thinks his start position is better than that of Grease's. He also thought Ogres really need the upcoming rework. This video is about where Skrag is at present, plus a good, hard look at the lore of the Maw, but Skrag will help us better understand generic Slaughtermasters and the Butcher hero version. Let's dig into the pot. Recruited by clicking on him, Skrag is a larger-than-manling-sized ogre, 250 upkeep per turn only, with 7,208 hit points on an ultra scale. Armor is 40, leadership starts at 70, missile resistance is the standard 15 to start. Speed 48 because he's dragging stuff around, charge speed of 70. Melee attack starts at 50 with an attack interval of 4, splash hookus size medium, and splash hookus actually damaged of 7. Melee defense starts at 40, which is respectable. Weapon strength is given as 430, split between 130 base and 300 armor piercing with a bonus versus infantry of 20. This immediately makes Skrag personally a mulcher of armored dwarfs. Charge bonus is 50, and mass is 2500. Skrag is a siege attacker, causes fear, can hide in forest, has wall breaker, ogre charge, so less punished by braced spears, and is immune to contact effects such as poison, armor sundering, and so on and so forth. He does not acquire mounts. As faction leader, Skrag is the prophet of the Great Maw, gaining campaign movement range plus 10% for all armies, something you usually need some guy like Karl Franz to get, and Franz doesn't cast spells. Also, Butcher recruit rank plus 2 faction wide and plus 1 hero capacity for Butchers. As a Lord and General, Gore Harvester grants Skrag casualty replenishment plus 8% for Gorger units, and minus 50% upkeep for Gorgers as well. They're still pretty strong, but they take a lot of casualties, so this is really good for them. Let's go over the blue line because this is the same used by Slaughtermasters, but it's fundamentally different from Tyrants and Greases, except for a couple of things, one being Root Marcher, the standard 5% campaign movement boost. Beastmen get 10%. I don't even remember the other ones with this different, so anyway. Healer grants plus 6% casualty replenishment for the Lord's army at 3 pips, all units, so not just Gorgers, but also helping Gorgers extra. Maw Tooth provides up to plus 36 growth for the local province. Note, I said province, not camps. Having said that, hey, ogres can build their wall defenses in captured major settlements from tier 1 up to 3, and landmark buildings often require a tier 3 settlement, so it's not useless at all. Devouring Maw reduces corruption by up to minus 3 per end turn at 3 pips. Brutish Enforcers adds up to plus 3 control. Reader of Portents adds plus 10% research rate for your entire faction, and that is very notable. Lightning Strike is the usual benefit. Quartermaster gives up to minus 9% upkeep, and ogres tend to have expensive armies. Master of Meat allows you to gain up to plus 150% of meat from camps, to make sure your armies are well fed and can therefore range further and longer from camp range. Diviner of Omens grants up to plus 12% income from the local province, but ogres gain real benefits from ports and some resource buildings. Renowned and Feared is the normal minus 8% upkeep reduction, plus 5% movement range, enemy hero disruption, and plus 1 recruit rank. We are done. The red line is 100% the same as Tyrants and Greases, so I won't go over it again here. At the top line at rank 7, you can get Lookout Nobblers, Lucky Nobblers, and Blessed by the Great Maw for plus 10% missile resistance, 5% physical resistance, and 10% spell resistance, respectively. At rank 5 only, you can select Whirling Stump Blades, granting Skrag plus 8 melee attack and plus 10% weapon strength for 1 pip, so it'd be a shame not to pick it up. Walking Larder offers up to plus 10 total wins capacity for the army at 3 pips. This looks like it was part of the rework of wins per turn being turned into reserve capacity instead, so the value proposition has dropped. Pick it late. Toothy Nobblers adds plus 5 wins capacity for 1 pip. Pick this when convenient. Tolerance to Toxins simply increases Skrag's generous hit points by 12% at 3 pips. For his personal line, well, it's less a line than an association of independent skills. 2 can be picked at rank 2, one of which is the Maw Feasts, reducing cost of offerings to the Maw by 20%. Look, your offerings cost 10 meat. Sending 8 instead is just not likely to be meaningful for long. Cavern Dweller, on the other hand, grants underway intercept chance plus 20% for 1 pip, and being able to get this early is actually very nice. At rank 14, You can select the 3 others and they are not mutually exclusive. Prophet of the Great Maw actually is a surviving dinosaur from the old era, granting +2 winds of magic per turn period, and adds -15% cooldown to all spells, which is very nice. Ogres usually don't get that luxury. Driven by Visions adds 8% movement range for Skrag, and that's great, it makes him even better at that. Finally, Gorger Onslaught is a one-time use Gorger summons, much like Throth summons Rat Ogres. On this note, I want to go over his legendary item. Cauldron of the Great Maw provides -5% upkeep for Skrag's army, corruption -5 for local province, which combined with some big names on the hunters can give you stupid large amounts of corruption reduction. Melee attack +3, melee defense +3, and the passive ability of the same name, which provides up to 0.2% heal per second, +20% base, and +20% armor piercing melee attack for all Gorgers in Skrag's army, increasing in intensity with the models Skrag kills in battle. Note that this does not apply to Skrag himself. That's all great, but if he's not killing, he's not filling bellies. So let's talk about the lore of the Great Maw, because hey, let's be real, he's alright, but that skill set is not making eyeballs pop out, pending the 6.0 rework. Bull Gorger is a single target spell, 4 winds default, 7 winds overcast, range 200, granting +24 melee attack and +25% armor piercing weapon damage for 17 seconds, or 36 overcast. On the tabletop, this was area effect when overcast, so yeah, they apparently thought that was too stupidly strong and will make ogres overpowered. Boo. Nonetheless, it's great as a makes the rich richer kind of spell, and you're kind of lacking normal ways to jack up melee attack other than this. Blood Gruel is a passive that grants Skrag, in this case at least, 0.4% healing for 9 seconds whenever casting any spell, no matter if it's Bull Gorger for 4 winds or something much more costly. That only benefits the caster, but when it's your legendary lord, we'll overlook that and say 0.4% is pretty nice while it lasts. Brain Gobbler costs 4 winds of magic regular and 6 overcast, 200 meter range, causing -16 leadership on a unit for 18 seconds or 36 if overcast. It's only affecting 1 unit, but if that unit starts a chain route, awesome! Also, it's not fear or terror, so no rule says it won't help against demonic units. Before their rework, you might have cast it on Furies, looked at them funny, and they disintegrate just like that. I'm not exaggerating by much. Toothcracker, mercifully, is area effect even when using its base form for 7 winds or 12 overcast. This has a 35 meter radius and +30 armor and +22% missile resistance on friendly units. I mean, that's great if you're charging into Cathay formations or fighting high elves, now isn't it? Duration is 35 seconds base or a whopping 60 overcast. I don't use it enough, or rather I don't fight enough factions with range as opposed to stinking Tamarkan. Bone Crusher is a small strike area explosion spell costing 10 winds default, 15 overcast, 200 meter range. Radius is 8 meters only. Sometimes you want to strike a smaller area, mind. It's 64 damage base, 50% armor piercing, or 96 damage overcast, 66% armor piercing. I mean, it's no barrage of molten lead, but it's something. Oh, and obviously it's magical damage and spell damage, for resistance purposes if fighting, say, Khorne or Dwarfs. Troll Guts costs a mighty 16 winds base or 26 overcast with a cooldown of 52 seconds and only affects 1 combatant, but it provides regeneration to the tune of 0.8% per second for 35 seconds. 70 if overcast. That's extremely impressive, at least until you hit the healing cap, but man, you have to choose wisely when and where to use it. Finally, the Maw is an explosion unlike the small one earlier, 20 winds default, 26 overcast, 20 meters radius, and within that it's 48 damage, 33% is armor piercing, or if overcast, 72 damage, 33% is armor piercing. Now, an Empire Swordsman is 69 hit points at full health. This is 200 meter range, by the way. I'm just saying, for chaff clearing in an area, this is actually a really good spell, and the fact it's easy to target, and all but instant, means you don't have to think very hard about how to use it. What's not here? Any kind of direct damage spell, or hex diminishing enemy attacks. If you want those, you need Lore of Beasts, and the thing is, Flock of Doom is miserable at doing it to characters, or low model count opponents like Chariots, so you're forced to husband your methods of smacking high quality opponents or use Ogre's limited arsenal of ranged options, although I think they have a lot of alliance potential if you play your cards right. Now, in addition to the magic itself, the skill line's midway point is not evasion, it is meat cleaver. granting a simple +8 bonus versus infantry, but normal Slaughter Masters do not have the inherent bonus versus infantry Skrag does. Finally, Extra Ingredients provides a power recharge of +160% and a reserves boost of +0.2% per second for 31 seconds, but only recharges in melee combat. Still, even without that, using it at the start of an engagement is worth Rhesus's weight in gold. That was rhetorical. He weighs a lot. So how do you use Skrag? I can't really say it's complicated. He's not the most hardened of lords, but he self-heals using his own magic even with normal spells. He benefits from Gorgers, so you want at least some. And if they're regenerating with 12 entities each, they're lasting a lot longer, and plus they're hitting harder. They're armor-piercing and anti-infantry anyway. Basically, you're even more specialized at wiping the floor with infantry-heavy factions than before. This means you have to be really aware, careful, and meticulous about factions that are monsters or machine-heavy, or get that way later in the campaign. Otherwise, not just do you have tools to really crush him in battle, but you can gobble your way across the map with all the campaign movement boosts you get. And since I've been advised that no, they aren't really capped at 150%, or so people have said, you should go right ahead and abuse them. Anyway, I suggest taking Skrag, pointing him at some Empire factions or sub-factions like Tilia, and going at it, and crushing anything else that looks even slightly squishy along the way. His lore is strong enough that even the few really special quirks he gets helps make him really good, and the underway interception alone makes him pretty good at catching greenskins and dwarfs in a disadvantaged and tasty state. So go and have a good time, and definitely use camps aggressively to keep your rampages running as long as possible. Take care, and have fun digging right in. The world is full of food, ready for the taking.